Hey everyone, welcome back to Dev Parkour. Today's video comes from an idea provided by a subscriber. If you have a question or an idea for a video that you want me to do, go ahead and leave a comment down below or on pretty much any video, or send me an email at bparks@brianparks.me. If I like your idea and it's long enough to do a video on, I'll do a video dedicated to your question. If I get a bunch of questions that are kind of small, not a full-length video, maybe I'll do a Q&A style video where I'll answer a bunch of questions. But if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them down in the comments below or email them to me. So this subscriber writes in, idea for another video because I need help. Motivation because I'm not really excited about my work right now. Actually, I haven't been excited about my work since being excited about my work got me laid off. Really haven't been wanting to do software since then. No excitement in it anymore. Moving up in a company isn't a goal anymore, and now that my company is going with a bunch of India devs, it is really challenging to do anything. Well, there's a lot to unpack here. So I've identified kind of four aspects of this question, this statement, that I think are worth discussing, and some of them might even warrant their own video in the future. But I did want to address this whole comment in its entirety, all in one video. So the first thing is how to get motivated or excited again at your current job, and then ideally, stay motivated / excited. The second thing is this comment about not being excited since being excited about work got them laid off. So I want to talk about that. Next is moving up in a company isn't a goal. That's totally fine. I'll talk a little bit about that. And then finally, how to handle working in a company that is outsourcing development, in this case to India, but it could be to anywhere. India is only one of the many places that companies are outsourcing, offshoring, whatever you want to call it, because there is a lot of pretty good technical talent in other parts of the world. And unfortunately for developers here in the U.S., they will do it for a lot less money than the typical developer's salary here in the U.S. is. So first up, how to get motivated or excited again at your current job, and then again, ideally stay motivated. So my recommendations here are, first up, figure out what it was that excited you about software in the beginning. When you first started doing software, what was it that really excited you about, going to work and writing code, solving problems, whatever it is, and determine if that still exists as an opportunity, both in the industry and at your company, and think about how that's evolved as technology has changed. Because if, for instance, if you're really excited about writing ASP.NET web forms, well, that doesn't really exist anymore. There may be some companies that are doing ASP.NET web forms, but most ASP.NET shops have evolved. The new ASP.NET technology is things like Blazor and Razor Pages and MVC and Web API. So think about, is there anything along those lines that piques your interest? In that specific example, if you really liked ASP.NET web forms, take a look at Razor Pages. I actually did a video about whether or not Razor Pages are just the next generation of ASP.NET web forms. I'll leave that video linked in the description below. But if that's something along those lines, if there's a technology that got you really excited about being a software developer that isn't really being used anymore, look for the next generation or the current generation of that sort of thing. Even though technology is advancing at an incredible rate, there is still kind of a linear progression. We're just incrementing and innovating on the same things that we're doing. The internet still exists, the web still exists, desktop programming still exists, embedded systems still exist. They just look a little bit different. So find what got you into programming to begin with and what excited you about it initially, and see what options exist, again, both in the industry and at your company, because ideally this is all with staying within your company. So find something that excites you in the same way that whatever got you into programming initially however that excited you. So that's my first thing on that one. And then secondly, have a conversation with your manager. Have a one-on-one. I'm actually surprised there are a lot of companies where people don't have regular one-on-ones with their managers. My recommendation is every week. If not every week, then definitely every 2 weeks. I have one-on-ones with everybody on my team every week. When I started that, I specifically told them that it's totally possible that we'll go to an every other week cadence, but I don't want to go beyond that. I don't want to just have one-on-one every month. But I found that weekly really is the right cadence. Occasionally, we do get on the phone and we don't really have anything to talk about. It's nothing more than a check-in. Hey, how's it going? Everything going well? Yeah, everything's going pretty well. Okay, talk to you next week, or realistically talk to you tomorrow because we do have daily stand-ups. But they're always there. It's a time to talk about things like career development, any issues that are going on, both technical and interpersonal. And in this case, like that is the time to talk about what is exciting you, what is not exciting you, how you feel about the projects you're currently working on. And you should feel comfortable talking to your manager about, things like burnout or, just general demotivation, and, wanting to, find meaning in your work again. Hopefully your manager can help you with that. And, if they can't, maybe your company has other resources. I think I mentioned in probably the last video, career development resources. So things like Udemy and Pluralsight for skills, or, something like Bravely for career mentorship, something like that. Hopefully your manager can point you in the right direction for something like that, if they can't provide that encouragement and support on their own. But if you're not currently having one-on-ones, asking them for a conversation like this will give you a lot of information. Their response to you asking for this conversation will tell you a lot about whether you'll be able to find what you're looking for at your current company. Some companies, they want people to do a very specific task. They don't really want to talk about anything outside of that. That's kind of a bummer, but there are companies that operate that way. And some of them actually have reasons. I'm not going to say good reasons or bad reasons, but they have reasons. But from that, even that initial reaction to asking for that conversation, you can get a feel for, how the conversation is going to go. And then once you actually have that conversation, then you'll know for sure, can I find what I'm looking for in my current situation? Or honestly, do I need to look elsewhere? Which is a thing. And the second thought I have on this is that in my experience, people join the companies for the work. We look at job descriptions and we go through interviews, and it tends to be a lot about the work that we're going to be doing, the team we're going to be working on, the project we're going to be working on, that sort of thing. And then depending on, projects ending, teams reorganizing, that sort of thing, those sorts of things might change. So people stay at companies for the people, which is something that's really hard to gauge during an interview. So we join for the work, we stay for the people. And in some cases, we'll stay at companies because we like the people we work with long after the work has stopped having any meaning, or far longer than the companies have been supporting our career development. Because ultimately, humans are social beings. We really like working around people we really like working around. That seems kind of like a tautology, but it is true. We will gladly work amongst people who we genuinely enjoy working with, even if the work isn't necessarily the most exciting work in the world. I can certainly say that at various points in my career, there have definitely been cases where I've liked the people a lot more than I liked the work, and stayed at companies just because of that. Now I'm at a company where I like both the people and the work, and that is fantastic. That is exactly where we all should be. That's what we should be striving for, is finding a place where we like the people we work with and the work that we do. Because if either one isn't there, then that's toxic in one form or another. And if we can fix it, we can fix it. If we can't, then we should be looking to go somewhere else. Okay, so the second point is not being excited, since being excited about work got this person laid off. Um, that's a major bummer. There's no way around that. I totally understand the perspective of being excited about being at a company, being excited about working on a particular project or doing a particular thing, filling a particular opportunity, and being really excited about it. And then for one reason or another, that opportunity disappears. Um, it's a bummer. Um, Unfortunately, for that situation, lots of states are at will, meaning that you can leave at any time. Companies can let you go at any time. Um, that's actually probably a good thing in the grand scheme of things, but it does mean that you might be really personally invested in the work that you're doing, and for one reason or another, the company decides it's time to terminate the relationship, and now you can no longer work on this thing that you were passionate about and really excited about. Um, so my recommendation is be try to be more excited about what you're doing for the company, and ideally what you're doing, what you are doing that you could do for other companies as well. So like writing ASP.NET web forms, to use the example from before. Is that a skill that is transferable between the company you're working at now and potentially other companies? Or leading a support organization. That's a thing that pretty much any tech company has a need for. Rather than focusing on, I am really good at allowing my company to do X, right? That's a little bit too specific, and either when it's time to leave, you might be less likely to want to leave, or if you get laid off, fired, whatever. Hopefully not fired, but if you get laid off, then you have to kind of pivot and figure out how you can, what you can salvage skills wise to go look for other jobs. And that can be, at the very least, a frustrating experience. And kind of the offshoot of that is that if you can't do what you're really excited about for your current company, or if you can't find anything in what you're currently doing that is potentially transferable, it might be time for a conversation, or at least a reframing of what you're doing. Make sure that you're doing something that A, you're excited about, and B, is not only, it doesn't only have meaning because you are at your current company. Like I said, that's kind of that's a recipe for backing yourself into a corner, and that can lead to frustration down the line. Okay, third point, moving up in a company isn't a goal. Totally fine. I think this person is specifically talking about management. Totally fine if you don't want to go into management. It's not for everybody. Both skills wise, I think a lot of the skills that management requires can be learned. So just because you're bad at management doesn't mean you'll never be good at management. But at the same time, some people just aren't interested in being managers, and that's totally okay. We need people at both individual contributors, managers, and at all levels. But if not everybody is a manager, there should still be a career progression. You don't necessarily want to stay senior software engineer forever. Potentially, you might want to go in the direction of like software architecture. That's a valid way to go. That is a progression typically beyond senior software engineer. That is a non-management track, usually. Alternatively, you can go really deep as an individual contributor. Let's say you don't want to go the architecture route, because architecture does involve, there are a lot of dealing with other people, dealing with multiple teams. Even as a non-management route, it is truly a leadership route. And then, of course, management is the management leadership route. You can still go deep as an individual contributor. So you can be a senior software engineer and be really strong at a particular technology. You could be the kind of the lead back-end dev at your company. You could be the lead front-end dev at your company. You could be, something like a principal software engineer if your company has that sort of thing. Or you could just be, the guy or girl who everybody knows to go to about memory management in C# or C++ or whatever, some specific area of the stack that you're working on. And I mentioned that because there is value that is still transferable. It's not not just, oh, I know how our particular platform is architected and I am the expert on why we built things a very specific way. That is something that is transferable. You can go to Udemy or Pluralsight and learn about that very specific area of the code base that you're using, or the tools that you're using. And that's an area where you can continue to learn, continue to level up your knowledge, even if you're not just leveling up your title and responsibilities and leadership expectations and that sort of thing. So really the goal, the idea here is pick the direction that you want to go, that you want your career to go, and then find the resources that will help you get there. So if your goal is to be a manager, find ways to get better at being a manager, learn how to be a manager if you haven't done it before. Or get into management positions. Architecture, same sort of thing. How do you get into those discussions? Or as an individual contributor, there are plenty of resources on how to go deep as an IC. Finally, how to handle working in a company that's outsourcing development to wherever. It doesn't really matter. There are definitely talented developers in plenty of other countries that aren't the U.S. And some countries, software developers are really, really cheap by U.S. standards. But there are still ways that U.S.-based software engineers drawing U.S. salaries can fit into an organization that is shifting to offshoring or outsourcing. One is obviously the management route, because typically those U.S.-based companies still have U.S.-based managers over foreign development teams. There are many different reasons that companies do that, but typically it's related to communication with either users or upper management, which is typically U.S.-based. The second option is something like architecture. And then finally, the third option is really go deep. Make yourself indispensable to the company, so that you are the expert on the particular tools and platforms that you're using, and that makes you far more valuable and again, indispensable. Basically, solidify job security. Again, not that some of these developers from other countries don't necessarily know those deeper, the deep dive material, but it's a lot easier for you to explain to your US-based management what's going on, as opposed to dealing with the foreign dev team and getting that knowledge from them. So realistically, that list is exactly the same as the list for the previous part of the question. So how do you move up, or how do you level up? How do you advance your career? You can go management, architecture, or go deep as an individual contributor. How do you handle working in a company that's outsourcing development? Well, the things that typically get outsourced are kind of the lower levels of software engineering, kind of like your junior or associate level software engineers get outsourced to, India, or, Ukraine is popular. Eastern Europe is very popular these days as well. Associate mid-level. So if you can go up into management, go into architecture, or go deep as a senior software engineer, that's how you stay in good shape, and are less likely to get laid off or have your job get outsourced. Obviously, I can't guarantee anything. Every company is different, but that's how you can still progress your career without feeling like you're just spinning your wheels or like you have to invest heavily and really be passionate about this company is, drink the Kool-Aid. You don't have to do that. You can still care about your career development without having to sell your soul to your company. And the underlying theme behind all this is still that you should be open to the idea that your current job might not have everything that you need. And you might have to look somewhere else. But I definitely recommend having that conversation with your manager, having one-on-ones, so that you can start the conversation early. You can make sure that either there is opportunity for me here or there is not opportunity for me here, because you don't want there to be a question mark, because then, I mean, let's be honest, job hunting is rough. Job hunting is absolutely not a fun time. So if you can make a better opportunity at your current job, or you can find the right opportunity at your current job, that's where to go. That's the direction you want to be going. But if that's not going to happen, and you know it, and your manager knows it, and you've come to that agreement that the opportunities for me at this company are drying up, or rapidly going away. There isn't going to be where I want to go with my career development just doesn't exist at this company, then it might be time to look somewhere else. So hopefully this video was helpful. If it was, I apologize it was so long, but I did want to address everything in this question. If you liked this video and made it to the end, hit that thumbs up button. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, that notification bell. If you have any questions, want me to follow up on anything that I said, or anything you want me to discuss in a future video, either on its own video or as a Q&A, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Or, like I said at the beginning of the video, you can email me, bparks@bryantparks.me. Thanks for watching. Hope you had a good day. Have a good day, depending on when you're watching this. I'm recording this at night, so hopefully you had a good day. But if you're watching this in the morning, hopefully you have a good day. And I will see you in the next one.